Hey guys, what's going on? It's Ron here. I'm trying to speak up because I got the printer going in the background, printing off a new design for the second rear fork plate that attaches onto my wheel loader. So I came up with a little different concept for the new owners of both the yellow and red loader. It's going to make life a lot simpler, to where it's got the same geometry setup to where when you pull the 3 pins off, you could slip the forklift attachment on it and don't have to readjust anything. I have seen out there it's a straight plate, and that does not work because it's not a straight shot from pin to pin. It's actually a pitched angle and then the bucket. So you have to come up with that mathematics to get your forks to set right. I'm going to walk you through this loader from accessing the battery to taking the back of the tractor off so you could get to your receiver. Then once you've got it bound on your guys' receiver, I'm going to show you how to set your sub trims up on your bucket curl. The lift shouldn't even be adjusted, but then there again, depending on what transmitters you run on, you might have to do a little bit of adjustment. I got that set up pretty much cut and dry on that. It's a mean, tough unit. It's pretty torquey. I'm playing around now with just the torque on it, blipping the throttle. You could set your speeds through your channel control of your stick. I like to run my rigs on the right side as far as forward, reverse, left, right, back, forward like this, forward, reverse. And then my lifts for my rigs, I run off the throttle side. That way you could stop your lift in mid-flight, and the bucket will stay there, and then your rudder control for your actual dumping back and forth, and then that will center back out when you come down. For getting inside to exchange your batteries, what you do is simple as this. You spin your rig like this, you lift this up, I like pulling this out a little bit on the other side, and it comes right off. That way you can access your battery in there, and there's your battery. This is your on-off switch for your ESC, which is a 60 amp ESC, brushed ESC. And then the battery I'm running right now in this thing is 3S2400 40 rate discharge rate. I'm just going to disconnect that. You're running TRX clips. I run anything from these kind of batteries to the smaller ones. These do well too. The 1600, you just got more space, but it's got plenty of space in here for bigger batteries. As you can probably see, inside the compartment's quite large, so you just want to try to get a battery that fits in there. Now, once you got the machine open, if you look inside, you got a 9-volt battery. That 9-volt battery runs your LED lights all around the exterior. Your switch is located in your dashboard, a little micro switch. That allows all your LED lights to come on. You got your red and orange and your side drivers, and then you've got 4 front drivers on this red one here, on this red unit. There's your 4 front drivers up in there. And you also got cab lights. Now on the yellow one, you've got a second switch that runs your driver lights on your front of your loader as well. So just shut them back down. That's separate from your battery source of your ESC. Now to get into the unit, what you do is you simply stick your finger in here. You push this little knob underneath, which pops that air box off. That's how it comes from the factory, like that. That helps you get into the unit. Then up underneath here, you put your 2 fingers right here, kind of slightly pinch, not a lot. You know, you can hold this up, and if I could show you, you'll have 2 brackets that lock this tail onto this unit. What you want to do is, I'm going to lift the machine and kind of hold it if I can, so I can show you in the camera. I don't really necessarily go into them brackets and pry. I just go right up underneath it, next to it, or even under here. You'll get more leverage. Go inside there and just turn your little flathead screwdriver slightly, and they'll pop. Now you're ready to get inside your unit. Right now, I'll show you from here. You just slightly pull this right off, and you set it to the side. The wires in the back here are all leading to your LEDs. Other than that, you slide this. Let me get this to the side so you can see this. On this unit here, the receiver box is right there. That's an AR610. This receiver will be removed in this unit. The yellow one will have the receiver in it. as you can see, there's nicely wired. Everything's in there like so. On this unit, I will have all the wires marked for locations of where you need to put them in your receiver box. Like I said, your throttle control is not set up on your throttle of your receiver. I'll be marking all these wires for you, the name of the wire and what it does and where you want to locate it on your receiver. It's all your guys' responsibility to program this right, because you can damage it. When you want your wires to go back in and go back on, I just like to grab my wires and take some of the slack out of it. You kind of tuck them up in the bottom of that rear of that cab. That way at the same time, these two cross members go over the rear tail lights, and then it turns down, and then it'll slide right back on and lock in place. And there's some brackets down there that you want to make sure you're not pinching any wires when you put it on, but then you'll lock back in place and you're up for action. Have now bound your receivers to your transmitter, and I'm going to put the battery back in. I'm going to show you how to set this up. So I'm just going to put now this battery in there to show you how to set this up. Now that you got your unit, bind it to your transmitter. When you go to turn it on, go ahead and turn on your transmitter, turn on your unit itself. Kind of set your transmitter, the throttle side in the middle, so that when it fires on, you know this is a safe zone right here. From there, you'll go to your settings, and what you'll want to do on your settings is your left stick, you'll have to do some fine-tuning adjustments. For this unit here, you can see my throttle. My throttle's set at 92% on the downward, which means when I put this thing on a steel plate, which I've got, or I've got a 2x2 porcelain tile I set my units on, so I know my wheels are the exact same height as my bucket, so that way when I design and build things, I can line everything up perfectly on a flush playing field there. So once you got that set, you want that bucket to rest perfectly on the ground as if it was with your wheels, no lower, no really higher. From there, once you get the downward position set up, like for right now it's at 92% right there. When you're going up, you want to watch your bucket going up. On my up travel, I'm at 113%, because I want to show you, if I crank this up more, what you will do when you throw your adjustments off. And this is what you want to watch for your adjustments. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and raise my my left throttle stick to show you where that adjustment's going to go up. You can go up and you can keep going up. So if you watch real closely, this will pivot and stop at a certain point. I'm at a full max at 125. I designed this setup with the inner support unit that I 3D printed to try to get the full max throw at the full max height without putting a bind on the machine. Now it might be off on yours by maybe 1 point or 2 point caliber, but I try to get that as max height without damaging what would be the stock unit. These are still plastic through here, but they have the screws that run up, they're supported so they won't pop off that rod in there. And there won't be much tuning to this lift on your throttle control. It should be set up as far as the downward and upward swing, almost max either way is 125%, give or take on the downside, because you don't want to go too low. Now I want to show you on the rudder. The rudder controls your curl of your bucket. If I go over to my travel adjustments, your sub trims, we'll check the sub trims in a second, but I think your sub trims are pretty much set up on 0 and 0 on both your throttle for your lift and your rudder for your bucket curl. I try to do this because that way, again, I try designing it at a certain distance to maximize these linear actuators and get the maximum performance out of the unit itself. And that's all in the inner designs of the inside components. So on the rudder, if you notice when you curl that bucket down, you don't want, right now the rudder's set at 64% to the right. Okay, I want to show you what happens when I kick it too high. So let's say I'm at 100% on travel adjustment for the rudder to the right. I want you to watch that double mounting bracket right in between here, if you could catch it. See how it's lifting up on that? You don't want to do that because it's exerting too much force, and it could only curl so much by the stock unit. What it's doing, since the design of the Bruder is not going to allow it to curl no more, but yet the distance still can curl on the lineal, it's going to reverse pull on this top plate. And what it's doing is that design is also calibrated. It's got 2 screws up through the bottom of it, which holds it on the top plate. But you don't want to damage that by over curling it. So that's watch how these lineals push up. See how they push up like that? So you don't want that to happen. So what you do is you'll come back down and adjust that. You'll adjust that travel. When the bucket is fully in the air and you got your curl fully to the right, you just want to keep going, extending that until you start to see that lift. I could slightly see it lift, so I know it's too high right now. So I'll back it back down. You don't want those lineals over fighting itself and end up damaging the machine itself or the twin lineals right